Should the 49ers re-sign Kendrick Bourne?
No, they shouldn't. He's going to be too expensive, and he's a good player, but with the production that they can get that production out of Richie James Jr. and I think they really like Juwan Jennings coming up as well. So I think he's kind of priced himself out of the market. He's probably going to be getting somewhere in the range of $5-6 million come this offseason. So I would say no. Time to move on.
All the dancing haters will rejoice. I think it depends on, one, the free agent market. I think Kendrick Bourne's going to get $7 million, and I think that's too much for me. I think he's going to get number 2 money, and I think $3 million is the cap for what I would bring Kendrick Bourne back for. It also depends on if Jalen Hurd is healthy. I know we've been saying that for 2 years now, but he should compete for that third string, that slot receiver role. So that would be an on-roster replacement if he is healthy. So I wouldn't bring Bourne back. I think he's destined to be a number 2 quarterback somewhere in the AFC South. Wide receiver, sorry.
I really like Kendrick Bourne. I really feel that he's underappreciated in the media. If you go back the last 10 years, since 2010, or the last 10 years, 2010, last 10, 11 seasons, he is top 5 in that entire time frame as far as receptions and receiving yards go. He's sneakily been one of the more consistent and productive 49er receivers since Michael Crabtree, Anquan Bolden. Obviously, he's not on that level of talent, and the 49ers have not had good wide receiver play before Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk came aboard for a very long time. And I go back to that Vikings game last year, the NFC divisional round, where he had 2 huge catches in that game. So I really like his toughness. He's better suited in that wide receiver 3 role. Looking at last year when there was Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel as the top 2, he really flourished in that wide receiver 3 role, moving the chains, catching touchdowns. I'm sure he can get wide receiver 2 money to or even with that pass happy team, he could probably get a lot of money. If he outprices himself with the 49ers, you got to move on. But for that $3 million range, like he played on the second-year tender this year, I'd bring him back.
Yeah, I think he's a solid number 3 receiver, and whoever gives him some money this offseason, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad decision or he won't be worth the money. I just don't think the Niners need to pay market rate for a number 3 receiver. I mean, they're a run-first team. Their 2 wide receivers ahead of him are excellent. They're like 4 deep at tight end. They're like 3 deep at running back in terms of guys who can catch the ball, counting use check. They don't need to be in 3 wide receiver formations very often. I mean, really, they should be giving more targets to use check and Dwelly and the running backs anyway. It's a base personnel offense. You have Richie James. Juwan Jennings will come back next year. You can always draft another guy in round 7 or something like that. I think they can let Kendrick Bourne go, and not because he's overrated or anything like that. I just don't think they need to be spending on that spot. Number 3 receiver. No, go to a pass first team.
Yeah.
You know.
And a couple more things with Kendrick Bourne. He's been so durable over the years, and it's been very hard to say that about other players in the position. I don't recall him missing a game to injury his rookie year. I know the last 3 years he hasn't missed a single game. So you have 3 full years where he has not missed any time. I know he was inactive early on his rookie year, but again, I don't think it was because of injury. So that's another thing that he's going to be in uniform on Sundays.
Yeah, I really like Kendrick Bourne too. I just don't think they're going to bring him back. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if you look at last week, they really ran 2 wide receivers for most of the game. And Richie James Jr., I think, got 50 snaps or pretty close to it compared to, I think, like 14 or 15 for Bourne. So that's kind of why I think they're going to go in a different direction. But I really like Bourne. He's kind of that under the radar kind of guy that everybody becomes a fan favorite.
Yeah, I think they see Bourne as more of like a slot guy in their offense because he's not fast or gadgety enough to be on the outside. And so I think Richie James will take a spot. Interesting. All right.
Before one more, I saw Matt Mayoko. He released his top 10 priorities as far as who to re-sign. And Kendrick Bourne was like 4th on his list, which I thought was interesting because there's a lot of big names that they have to worry about bringing back.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I disagree with that one. But no, all I'm saying is it's not that I disagree with Matt. If he wrote it, he heard it. And so I just disagree with whoever in the organization is telling them that's come on, man. Let him go. Resign use check, get Dwelly more involved. There's really nothing that that Bourne gives you that Dwelly doesn't. They're both possession receivers in their own way. One guy's cheap, another guy's going to cost $6-7 million. Come on, they like Kendrick Bourne. That's why he's in the conversation, because he's a good dancer, and Kyle thinks he's like his son. So I don't know. There's a family there, and he's in the family, so maybe he will come back.